Hey, so just finished up a workout at Orange Theory, and it was cool. Saw a bunch of people that I know, friends from around the community, people that do CrossFit with us, and just like good people. Saw a lot of familiar faces there, including the coach Jake Wolf, who I know from Supplement Superstores. Shout out to Jake. And by the way, I'm not naked here. I don't have a shirt to change into like I usually do. When I work out at CrossFit, I have my cabinet there, my cubby there where I keep changing clothes. I don't have that with me today, so I just ditched my shirt and threw it in the back of the truck. Anyway, shout out to Coach Jake. He was great. You can tell Orange Theory, like their whole experience has been fine-tuned. They have it to basically a complete formula that they follow for the class based on hitting heart rate zones and levels of perceived intensity, rate of perceived exertion, and it was good. So my heart rate monitor, I spent 22 minutes in my target heart rate zone, what they call splat points, which was neat. It was a different, a visual way, the number on the screen, a visual way to assess who was in what heart rate zone, who was in what rate of perceived exertion, who was really pushing, who was kind of dogging it. It was, in CrossFit, we have the time to finish a workout. We have the weight that you lift, how many reps you accomplish. These are all ways of gamifying the experience, ways of quantifying exertion and output, and they're awesome. It looked like this is just a different style, a different way to gamify or to track, to measure fitness output. What's kind of neat is we've actually, at CrossFit Arizona, we have batted around the idea of getting a MyZone subscription, having a Jumbotron mounted that presented heart rate zones for people as they do their CrossFit workout. And it was really kind of cool having the screen there, able to actually monitor my actual heart efforts, how hard my heart was working. So I felt like there might be some real value there, and I'm going to revisit with my team the idea of how to best, are we interested in implementing that, and if so, how would we do it? So maybe one of the takeaways I have from this experience is maybe some of the technology of it. Other things that I may take away from the experience was the maybe some environment or atmosphere points. I noted that they kept the music going constantly throughout the entire experience. They would turn the music up and turn it down depending on what phase of the workout they were in and how much explanation that particular phase of the workout required. But they had the music going constantly, and that was neat and different. I don't know that we necessarily change how we do at CrossFit with that. I have to think about it, but I definitely noted that as far as atmosphere goes. They also, their branding with the orange was ubiquitous across the entire facility. In the gym area, they had lighting overhead that was colored orange, so everything was kind of bathed in an orange tinge. And their bubble rowers were set in they were made in an orange paint, and the whole thing, they really the whole experience was very much branded around orange, which they call the happiest color or something like that. So a good job. I mean, if you really want to internalize the concept of orange, they did a really good job with that. I do wonder for the staff there, if it starts to wear on them being in an orange filter all day long, like seeing everything in a shade of orange all day. I really wonder how that starts to affect a person. So it's got me, I mean, I'm just curious about that, I suppose. I would also wonder, like from day to day, if it would start to wear on the clients having everything bathed in a constant shade of orange all the time. It's definitely great for the branding side of things, but I would still wonder about whether it would get old after a while. I mean, I guess they can probably change it up and do like different hues of orange, or do like orange hues one day and grayscale a different day. I don't know, maybe. Just thinking aloud. So there's that. And then finally, like in terms of like instruction, like they have a good find in Jake. Jake is clearly, I mean, like he's impressively knowledgeable, working with a group of people in a very like fast-paced environment. He did a really good job of like instructing what quality movement looks like on a rower, what quality it looks like in a dumbbell deadlift. I mean, I was impressed. He did a really good job of synthesizing movement quickly, and it definitely shows that he has been an exerciser himself and is accustomed to teaching, which you probably learned at S2. So good on you, Jake. There was I spent a lot of time spying the room and studying the movement and exertion of the other athletes. I call them athletes just because I'm a CrossFitter and it's my habit to do so. There was a range of body types, a range of fitness levels, a range of people. Some people could keep going constantly. Some people had to have like pretty frequent rest breaks, but it was like everybody was able to, it seemed like within their own parameters, get a pretty dang good workout. So in terms of like the was it effective? I'm sure it's effective. I'm sure it gets the job done. No doubt about it, though, the core clientele there, their target market is definitely women, for sure. All the apparel on site was like women's cuts and women's sizes and designed to be very feminine. Thank you, sir. I don't know that I saw even one t-shirt or tank that could be worn by a guy when I was there. And again, this is not a criticism, just an observation. Because like if they're a target demographic, their target clientele are females, then it makes like perfect sense for them to do that. And there were some guys in the class. Like I was the only guy in my class, and there was a guy in the class before that. But we were outnumbered, hardcore outnumbered. It was mostly females. Again, no criticism there, just an observation on who their target market is. We got through a lot of exercises in the time. There was a general 5-minute warm-up, which was for half of us on the bubble rower, and for 5 minutes, the other half were on the treadmill. And then they did 3 rounds of what they call floor exercise with some dumbbells, some plank stuff like that. So I'd say we probably had 9 floor exercises total. And then that was half of the working time. And then the other half of the working time was all treadmill or bike or rower, depending on your abilities, depending on limitations you had. But I'd say so maybe like 10 exercises total. So it was a good variety of stuff. They did a really good job harnessing variety and keeping things like moving, keeping it varied and interesting. I do think that there's going to be naturally like a cap and limitation on how much stuff you can do. If the limits are like floor, fairly light dumbbells, and a treadmill, like essentially, like you could be limited to what you can do with those implements, because those are the implements that they had there. I guess they had some TRX straps too. They have some TRX bands there. So I think that you'd have to really be a big fan of treadmill. Really be a big fan of treadmill, because I understand like it's a huge part of what they do. It's their cardio half of class, and I think you'd have to really embrace being on a treadmill in order to do this on a regular basis. Just some thoughts on what I saw there. Learned a bunch on, from intake. They had a pretty smooth intake process. Immediately after my class, they talked to me about membership options and tried to connect me to my next class, had a time for me to come in for my next class. And they went with an assumed close. They're like, all right, so when do you want to do your next class? But the question assumed there was going to be a second class, which I respect. They definitely have a process, and it's well honed, so good job. Good job, Orange Theory. Overall, I think you guys are doing a great thing there. I appreciate you guys letting me come and join you guys for a session. Much love to you guys. We'll see you again soon.